Welcome to Doing It My Way by Bata Matras, a podcast about project and product management, communication, brand, and IT. All these topics will definitely improve and have a positive impact on your career. So join me today, subscribe, and expect a new episode every week. Thank you. In this episode, I'm excited to have Magdalena Firlit, a professional Scrum Trainer at Scrum.org and Agile Transformation Consultant. With over 20 years of experience in Scrum and Agile, Magdalena has trained around 12,000 people and has been a speaker, mentor, and lecturer in the Agile community. And today we're diving into the concept of evidence-based management and how it can transform the role of product owner. We'll also discuss the nuances between product owner and product manager roles and Magdalena's involvement into various initiatives like Women in Technology. Welcome, Magdalena. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to share my experience and thoughts and everything what I can.
Magda, actually, I have to mention that my transition to product manager mindset really began after attending your PSPO 2 training. It was like exceptional and transformational experience for me. It was truly useful and eye-opening, especially the part about the various stances of product owner. We won't delve into like the details today because we have some time constraints, but I must say that it was a pivotal moment for me to realize that I might be a project manager or even like a proxy. So thank you for that.
I'm so happy to hear that. And for me, it's like the best confirmation that I could deliver value with the class and improve someone's life and make you maybe thinking about your personal and professional development. So I'm really glad to hear that.
Thank you, Magda. And now I would like to move to the questions because I'm always inspired by personal or professional stories. So, Magda, could you share some highlights from your career journey, especially in Agile and Scrum environments?
So this is a kind of long story short. And now it's been 24 years of my professional experience, but not all of those years were devoted to Agile and Scrum. Actually, I started and I firstly discovered Scrum in 2008. That was during my postgraduate university course. And I had just a course in project management the entire year, or maybe more than a year. I don't really remember right now. But it is not important. The important thing was the part, but the first class was with Scrum. And that was very inspirational for me because I discovered it at that time and I had no idea what it is, but I felt and I just knew that it will be working in my environment that I was currently hired. So I tried to apply it immediately in my real life work experience. I tried to do it like everything from scratch, just put it into practice immediately. And then it was really successful and I fell in love how it's working and how it's cooperating with people, and how it's great for products, for customers, for everyone actually in the organization. And then I, of course, moved to other companies. I had plenty of roles, like not only a Scrum Master role, because I started as a Scrum Master, but also product ownership roles, Agile leaders. So I had my team of Agile coaches and Scrum Masters, and we were accountable for the Agile transformation. Also, I was an Agile coach in several organizations. And then I became a professional Scrum Trainer and started my own company. And I just wanted to help as many organizations as I could. And it's right now around 75 or maybe 76 organizations I served already. So it's a lot. And I hope this experience is beneficial for them.
Definitely, I think it is, and it's like a massive number, almost like 75 or 76 organizations that you already served, that you already helped to transition into a more agile way. That's amazing. And as you said before, putting your experiences, the knowledge that you learn on on the training into practice, it's a vital part of becoming and building your experiences. And as we're moving to your experience as a mentor and trainer, what are some common challenges that you see among professionals in product and agile roles? And maybe how do you help to overcome these challenges?
Mhm. Especially product owner accountability is often misunderstood, and product owners have actually no or very little ownership of their products, and they are not meant to be. And they are meant to be user story writers and proxies rather than decision makers. So they do not take part in creating a product strategy and have very few product management capabilities. But they want to learn and improve as much as their organizations allow them for such empowerment and development. So definitely, product owner accountability is one of the most common challenges as unempowered um, and misunderstood accountability, actually. Another challenge is related to leaders and actually a little bit lacking of agile leadership, but also a detailed plan for delivery. This is what they expect. They expect deliverables. Those are outputs, features, functionalities. And sometimes those features are meaningless to customers. So we are putting a lot of effort actually to deliver something, to make it working. And then at the end, it turns out that nobody wants it. And so this is for me like unnecessarily spending time and money, effort, and people's creativity for something, but it's not used or rarely used. And I called this attitude featureosis. so like, so like thinking only in terms of features rather than value. So it actually it's leading us to lack of understanding outcomes. So outcomes they are desirable things by customers, and this is like a gap in their satisfaction as well, and measurable changes actually in their behavior. So so this is like a kind of a prevalent lack of emphasis on understanding the outcomes with a tendency to prioritize deliverables over the actual impact and value these deliverables bring to customers and the business. Also, like intuition based decisions. This is another thing I often met in organizations. So I mean by this, decisions are frequently made based on intuition rather than leveraging the best and the most current evidence available. And this approach can lead actually to missed opportunities for making informed, data driven decisions. And that's actually what is really sad and happens very often also in organizations. And processes are not simplified. What I mean by that is like we have a very comprehensive process in our organization and we know about it, but we don't want to do anything. So this is the approach that everything is working for now. So why to change anything? Why to simplify it? Why to put any effort to be more agile, to flatten the structure, or to just simplify some steps in a process? Another thing, because there are plenty of them, Beata, like the lack of experimentation actually in products. So sometimes I observe that people are afraid of experimentation and they are afraid of the word experiment. We think of small experiments with customers and users to validate our ideas and assumptions when especially data is not available at the very beginning when we are starting working on some product or some initiative or some just functionality. So we want to validate those assumptions with real customers, but people are afraid of the word experiment because they think that, oh, we won't be working on real things. We just will be experimenting, but it's actually not. We mean low-cost experiments. So this is like another topic. I can talk and talk and talk about experimentation. Another thing is rather project management mindset than a product mindset. A project management mindset means like the fixed scope, fixed budget, and fixed time. And with product management mindset, we are thinking about developing the product, about something bigger than just fixed scope. This is like a customer satisfaction. This is also thinking in terms of business value, like revenue, and many things that they are not sometimes meant in project management. We're not blaming projects. I'm just blaming that sometimes project attitude is not the same as product attitude. And in several companies, there is rather more beneficial to have products than projects. And of course, I've just mentioned a few challenges, but also one of them is product owner versus product manager as well. So, Beata, plenty of them I've just mentioned several.
Magda, thank you for sharing the important challenges and also the ways to overcome those. Yeah, as you said, being focused on delivery, being focused on outcomes, lack of experimentation, project management mindset. I think I experienced it all. So thank you for mentioning that. And right now, maybe we move to the differences between product owner and product manager roles. Because I see that many companies and professionals do not understand the roles or core differences between these. And in your experience, how do these roles of product owner and product manager differ, and where do they overlap?
Actually, it might be shocking what I'm going to say at this moment. A product owner is a product manager, is a kind of agile product manager. So this is actually one difference for me. So the same areas of accountability and management. So I'm aware that now people might raise their voices, but look, there are some accountability areas like budgeting, marketing, product strategy, product goals, product vision, customers and users, and so on and so on. So additionally, the product owner is accountability. It's not necessarily a job position. Of course, it can be, but a product manager might be a product owner too. So the only reason we distinguish it to emphasize that this is the owner of the product, and product owner is an accountability in Scrum framework. So it means that this product manager is working as a product owner in the agile and Scrum manner. That's it.
And how can product owners go beyond just, backlog management, because that's very often their like basic responsibilities, and truly drive product value?
This is something, but when you think about the definition of a product owner, and I think there is an answer actually hidden inside. A product owner is a value maximizer. And that's the most important thing for the product owner to perceive, to perform, and to understand. So this is not just a requirement writer. And to maximize value, you have to have some accountabilities and decision-making possibilities. So being accountable doesn't mean that you need to work on all areas yourself. It's also about delegation and empowerment. So you can, for example, delegate some information like gathering users' feedback, or maybe some metrics. You can delegate it, like taking a look at it, gathering those data. So that's what something might be done by other people. But product owner need to be aware. That's the most important thing for maximizing value. I mentioned product strategy. Also, the person has to have a product strategy and thinking, okay, what about our cost? What about revenue? What about value for customers and users? What about our partners? What about our activities that we need to do at this moment? And so this is going beyond backlog, just backlog management. Backlog management, it is like a result of all those things. So that's it.
Okay, you mentioned very important thing about like being also empowered and letting yourself to actually think about this, strategy about the customer value. Because very often we just limit ourselves by focusing on backlog management because that's what they told us to do, and that's also okay. If you don't want to grow, that's okay. But if you want to develop yourself in the role and you want to embrace this product management mindset, it's important to go beyond and actually putting an interest into these areas like strategy, vision, customer knowledge. Yeah. Um, and and what strategies or practices would you recommend for product owners aiming to increase that impact and developing themselves in their role?
So, regardless if you are a product owner with a technical background or maybe more business background, because of course, it may differ. Think in terms of product management. So, like, become a product manager, regardless of your job position. It is like the mindset shift, rather. So, it is in your head, and then you need to act. So, as a product manager, so you need to manage all those areas and to think where I can be more empowered in each area. Sometimes people, they complain, okay, I'm not able to do anything because I'm not empowered. And then when you are discussing and digging up more, it turns out that there are some product management areas that person can actually develop themselves and can be a little bit empowered and can start working on it. So, like, becoming a product manager as you manage a product, even if it is like a certain area. So start with whatever is possible, but you need to immediately put it into practice. So mindset shift, thinking in terms of managing a product, even though you are not so empowered, but apparently when you will be thinking more about it and more, you will find your potential and your way. And topics like I mentioned again before, a current product strategy that is aligned with a business strategy are a must, not optional. So what you can do, for example, with this product strategy and the business strategy is mostly on the organizational or department or the product line or product portfolio level. And you have your product strategy. If you don't have it, it's a great opportunity for you to create it. So do it as a workshop, in a workshop style. Invite stakeholders, invite teams, whoever is needed, and start creating it, having in mind your business strategy. If it exists, of course. If it doesn't, it means that you need to create it as well. So it is actually a great opportunity. The next thing, what you can do, it is, remember, an example, of course. So you can think about your individual situation. But another example is know your customers and users. One has to know product backlog management strategies also to distinguish what is the most valuable for users and customer and what is not, actually. So that's what I would also recommend. Know your customers, know your users, and prioritize, order your backlog and know backlog management strategy to just know what it's the next to be delivered for them and what really brings value. Of course, that's not enough. You need to have goals, like a strategic goal, a product goal, measurable goals, and very specific. So you need to also measure value and progress towards these goals. Many things I can actually share, but this is like how to start.
The core, yeah. Small steps, small guides will be really helpful for our listeners. And you mentioned knowing your customers and users, and I think that lead also to the data-driven approach, the evidence-based management, because after every evidence there is a person actually. Yeah? Data is people and what their needs, what their thoughts, basically what their needs. So right now, let's move into more like evidence-based management topic. And can you explain what is that? What is evidence-based management and how it can empower product owners?
So the evidence-based management is a framework, actually. It's not a methodology. It's not a method. It's a framework because it gives you some rules. It's like Scrum. It gives you only some rules, some direction, and then maybe some details may differ, and that's fine, and that's okay. So framework is the purpose of this framework is to make informed based decisions and measure value, and consists of three types of goals, like a strategic goal, intermediate goal, and tactical goal. They have key value areas, four of them, like the current value, time to market, ability to innovate, and unrealized value, and key value metrics. And actually, key value metrics are just examples in each key value area to show people what you can use. So if you don't have many tricks, like many of them, and you don't know when to start, so you can use and where to start and when to start. So what you can do, you can actually start with our metrics, and that's fine, and that's okay. But you can, of course, use your own specific for your product metrics. And once we measure it, we can see that sometimes our current goals are irrelevant. Because from unrealized value, knowing unrealized value, which is a potential both for customers and their satisfaction gaps and desired experience, but also potential market share. So from this unrealized value, you can see what is missing and what you can do and how to change the goal. Because sometimes the goal, as I mentioned before, is completely irrelevant or not important for the organization, and that's also like a revelation. And not all organizations are actually ready for it. And the next point is not only goals, but also constantly measuring value and making decisions based on this. And it leads us to experimentation, because sometimes we see data, and sometimes seeing those data, we can say, okay, so from what we can see at this moment, we don't know 100%. So we are not sure that this certain particular solution will serve our customers. So what we need to do with this, we need to run a small low-cost experiment to actually validate our assumption. So to prove it, or to say, oh no, we shouldn't go into this direction. This is long story short again. But hopefully like the initial definition would be helpful a bit.
Yeah, definitely. If someone wants to, get to know more, they can definitely contact you, or join one of your trainings where you explain these concepts in more detail. But I would like to move focus on a practical example. So, have you applied evidence-based management in your work or maybe life, and what impact has it had?
So my first contact with evidence-based management was in 2015, and I started with several other agile coaches at that time in a large corporate environment. So the organization around 12,000 people, so a large corporate, international corporate environment, and we tried to do and to apply evidence-based management for almost entire organization. And that was partially successful, but in some departments wasn't, to be honest, of course, because of people, of course. But in some where it was successful, this approach is still working, because I'm in constant touch with those people. I'm checking at least each year, or talking to people, and in those parts in organization where people were open, where people just knew what value evidence-based management may bring. So this approach is still working and helpful. That's what is the most important. Helpful to make a decision, just simply like that, because it is a decision-making framework and measuring value. So, but people sometimes, because it requires actually super transparency, I would say radical transparency. And that's why not everyone in the organization is ready for applying the framework, because it's showing us plenty of things, but maybe we don't want to have them shown. To say it in a very nice way. And then, but after this experience, I applied it, evidence-based management, to various organizations. And not always the organization level was possible, but sometimes only the department or product level was a success story, and it's okay and it's working. So, for example, we may have some bank, and in 2 or 3 products in this banking environment, evidence-based management is known and practiced and working, and they are making decisions, they are discovering their goals due to unrealized value. But in other parts of the same company or the same banking environment, it just doesn't work, not because it's not working at all, but they never tried. They are not open to try it, and they don't feel that they need it. So like a normal things, like depends on people, and being actually open, being ready for radical transparency, also facing real customer needs. Yes, because we need to, like, it is like a patient, an analogy to medicine. You are a patient, and here is a doctor, and you need to just examine what's going on with your organism, what's causing your pain, etc. So it is like doing blood check, and so measuring, right, measures. It is like doing X-ray or MRI for your entire body to just verify and to just see what's going on in your body, and what is the cause of your disease or something else. So this is the same, actually. Like a patient is a product, and we are going to go to just see what's inside and what is painful, what is causing any kind of suffer, disease, etc. Yeah, so this is the analogy that we can also apply here. And not everyone is ready for facing real customer needs, and sometimes it's all about minimizing ego and assumptions, because very often it turns out that our assumptions are just our assumptions, our ideas, but they have nothing to do with the reality and the real customer needs. And this is like a shifting also from efficiency and resource utilization to being value and customer driven. So also there is something that we need to overcome in our mindset and in our heads. So that's why not everyone is really open to this idea.
Definitely, I have to agree, because very often, transparency needs courage. Yeah, it needs courage to face our ego, our assumptions, our ugly truth sometimes, which is not easy to accept. But once we do that, and once we embrace our gremlins, demons, whatever we call that, we can actually start to change and learn with curiosity, integrity, and openness. And about being open and share your learnings, share your experience, can you talk more about your involvement with women in technology and other agile communities? What motivates you? You know, you're being a very busy professional, a very experienced, yet you have time to share your knowledge with others. What motivates you to volunteer and mentor in these spaces?
Mm-hmm. Also, I started like 8, maybe 10 years ago. I don't remember. I started with women in technology, and of course other agile communities, because I wanted to help others. And I had my mentor also like 10 years ago, and I was just before my 40s, and I think right now it's too late. And I'm happy, absolutely happy that I had this chance, of course. But if only I could have had it like 20 maybe years ago, it could be easier for me. It could be completely different. This is what I believe, of course. I don't know. That's my assumption, not validated assumption. So when I meet ladies, if they are before their 20s, 30s, or 40s, regardless of course, their age, I'm really happy to help them. I'm really happy to share my experience and motivate, because once someone helped me, so and now I think that it was too late again, but regardless of it, I want to also help others, and it's motivating me that I can motivate someone else. That's also interesting, and showing them a potential path for their development, and showing them that. But plenty of things are possible, because people, they are building roadblocks in their heads, in their brains, but this is not true, and they don't see any way out from the labyrinth. So I believe that someone like a mentor can show you some potential ways how to go out.
Or sometimes mentors can show you the potential in yourself that you don't see yourself because you're too focused on your perception rather than, the perspective. And that's the important
Exactly.
part. So
Exactly.
thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. We're moving to the closure. So, based on your experience and evidence-based management, what is the most important insight or piece of advice you would like to share with our listeners?
Mhm. The most important insight that would be that the evidence-based management framework leads to experimentation and thinking in terms of measurable, outcome-oriented goals. So it's not only about metrics; it's about value. And be prepared. In many organizations, not everyone is open to seeing that their ideas were useless, intuition based, costs, loss of money, time, effort, and people's engagement actually, and led to nowhere. Example can be with features, with functionalities, with zero value. Think about your context and think about your own examples. Think about all features, functionalities, or the parts of services, maybe, of your development, that they were so important, like a priority and urgency, number one in your organization. Yet after just releasing them, it turned out that they brought zero value.
That happens, I think, very often in some companies where we trust too much our experience and this intuition and not check it with the data, because I kind of believe that it's both. Yeah, it's data driven approach. There is a part of the intuition built on your experience, but for that you need to also assess the metrics and being data driven. So yeah, it's both. And as you look in the future, what are your professional or personal goals for this year?
Absolutely. I will be continuing my journey and continuing sharing my experience with product management and evidence-based decision making. So this is what I expect. I also have a plan of working on the larger article, maybe something more, we'll see, or maybe I will shorten the form, we'll see also, because it's still in the air. And that would be about learning organizations and about evidence-based decisions on the organizational level and experimentation on the organizational level. So not only thinking in terms of product level and small experimentation, but also something bigger, and how we can combine products, evidence, and entire organizational product portfolio, and what to do with that. So I started actually this year with several articles related to the EBM and to product portfolio as well. And also I recorded plenty of videos on my YouTube channel. So this is what I'm going to continue actually, and cooperate with organizations and helping them. That's my goal.
Thank you, Magda. Thank you for sharing that. That's both empowering and inspiring to see that you're developing your expertise not only in Polish but yeah in English. I'm doing the same, but I'm at the beginning of my journey. So it's great to see you as a role model in that space. And if our listeners or me would like to connect with you or learn more, where they can find you online.
My website and a blog with real life experience, and everything is written by me and from my real experience working with those 70s more companies. More content is in English actually on my website. More content and more articles, more blog posts, and everything is more in English than in Polish. Also, my YouTube channel, it's called Agile in the Spotlight. I share also my experience, both in Polish and English. However, recently I wanted to become familiar with the Polish audience. So recent videos are recorded in Polish, but of course there are plenty in English. But right now I've noticed a rule: my blog, more English content, and my YouTube channel, more Polish content, but also you can find something in English. So that's interesting rule. I don't know why is that. That was unconscious.
Maybe that was, more intuition based, yeah, or based on
Intuition,
your needs.
exact.
Yeah, but I think sometimes, you're very experienced. So I think like intuition is something also based on the experiences you have. And we as women have that superpower very,
Mm-hmm.
I think, well developed. And
Yeah.
it's a part of our us, yeah, it's a part of us, so I think we should use it also, of course remembering about the data because that's also important part, but connecting those two, I think
Mm-hmm.
that brings amazing results. So maybe that's something for you to also like I'm sure that you're trying that in your life, so you know it
Oh yeah,
already.
of course, of course. I'm trying, and I focus here in this conversation with you. I focused on professional part, but of course, in my real life, like a private part of my life, also I apply it. So absolutely, and it's been working.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that because I'm also like learning to trust my intuition and instincts, not emotions. That's the difference.
Mhm,
Intuition and instinct rather than
mhm,
following the emotions.
mhm.
That's a difference you have to learn on your way.
On your way, yeah, and also having data, so validation with current data. That's also important.
Definitely,
Definitely.
definitely.
Beata,
Thank you, Magda, for being my guest.
thank you, Beata, for having me here. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for joining me on another episode of Doing It My Way by Beata Matras. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe. Remember, this podcast is a dynamic journey and your feedback is very welcomed. Connect with me on social media. I would like to hear your thoughts, questions, and topic suggestions. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes. And until next time, keep doing it your way.